What's the story, everyone? Welcome back to Gaelic Games Fan TV. Welcome back to the channel. Joined, as always, by Matthew Hurley from the Gaelic Statsman podcast, Instagram channel, social channel. And we're here, obviously, to review the weekend's club championship action. There was certainly, a lot of different talking points, a lot of different stories. Obviously, East Kerry winning back-to-back Kerry championships. That's 4 titles now in 5 years for them. So big up East Kerry, obviously getting over the line. The likes of David Clifford, Paddy Clifford, obviously in that side, Dara Roach, many talents. But you have to praise Mid Kerry as well, who gave a very, very good display of themselves, and we'll certainly discuss that as well. Corofin, they're champions in Galway for the first time since 2019. So it's going to be the first time since that 2019-20 season that we see Corofin compete in the Connacht Club Championship and in the All-Ireland. We were running through the Limerick final and obviously all the results from the various different club provincial championships as well. Kilkew beating Derry Gunley Harps, Kilmacud Crokes winning, St. Loman's winning as well, Ardee St. Mary's winning as well. And obviously Ballycunner gave Sarsfield a bit of a trimming in the All-Ireland Club Hurling Championship, so we'll touch on that, as well as we'll preview some of next weekend's games as well. So Matthew, first of all, how's things, and how did you find I suppose some of the weekend's action? Anything kind of stand out for you?
Yeah, there was a good few things that stood out for me, to be fair, Aaron, and thanks for having me on your channel again. Yeah, it was probably Saturday. There was the one game on, was the Kilmacud game, and the game was over at half time, simply. And people were actually, I was saying off air to you that people were actually questioning me in the comments on Instagram, Twitter, why would any sane person watch that game? But I was just like in my head, look, it was the only game I had to watch. So, I have to do that in a way. But the 2 games on Sunday, I think the Kerry final was good. I think it saved the weekend. I think it was an excellent final of quality. Mid Kerry were very unlucky in the final. I actually have cousins that are from the Mid Kerry division, so big up to them. Feel sorry for them coming home after a loss yesterday. But East Kerry, David Clifford, Paddy Clifford, and especially Luke Crowley off the bench did the job there. But I think the main thing that stood out for me was how Sarsfields got hugely dismantled at the weekend by Ballygunner, and it epitomised the problems within Cork hurling, the Cork hurling Club Championship, where it's gone over the last few years. We'll get onto it, I'm sure, in a bit. But that's the bit that stood out for me, because obviously I am from Cork, and it was just depressing to see that at the weekend. But some good games, some not so good games. But glad to get into it. The Club Championship is getting up and running now, and all the county championships are now done. It's hard to believe all the county championships are done. The Limerick, the Galway, and Kerry final were all yesterday, and into the All-Ireland series now.
Absolutely, yeah. It's kind of mad. Like, a couple of it only felt like it wasn't too long ago where you had so many club championships happening left, right, and centre, and now they're all done and dusted. Any county champions stand out for you in terms of, like, obviously now that we know, like, and obviously some county champions have already been knocked out of their various club championships, but in terms of Gaelic football, like, is there any county champions that you've maybe seen from watching different streams or anything that have stood out, I suppose, apart from your obvious favourites?
Yeah, there's a few. Like, it was hard, obviously, to watch every game throughout the country. Like, I've been doing a bit on the Cork Championship at the start in August with the Southern Star, and then with the Limerick Voice in September and October. So I took more eyes on those championships, to be honest, and the Kerry Championship as well, because I am close to Kerry. I live in Tipperary as well. Tipperary Championship was closer to me as well. But even look at reports and stuff like that. I think Clonmel scoring 6 goals in the Tipperary final was impressive against Jacob Brockens. That was an incredible scoreline to put up 6 goals and 7 points. The way Kilmacud dismantled Ballybone at the Dublin final, I didn't watch the game myself, but the scoreline, it looked like Kilmacud absolutely bossed that game from left, right, and centre. I think the one, not necessarily that it stood out, but it shocked me the most, was the Laois Championship. I know they're out of the Leinster Championship now with St. Joseph's. They dismantled Port Arlington, and then they beat Port Laois in the final. I think you come across them two sides, you have to play to your utmost as underdogs. And both them games, to be fair to St. Joseph's, they did that, and they won the Laois Championship. Fair play to them. But having looked at all the championships, I think the 3 favourites for the All-Irelands, having looked at it, is probably going to be Wally Gramsglen, Kilmacud, and Corofin. I think them 3 sides, you'll get your winner out of them 3. And actually, we wanted to say this on this podcast as well. There was one person that said Corofin would win the Galway final last Thursday night, and there was 2 people that said Mike Cullen. Guess the person that said Corofin would win it. Yeah, there you go. And maybe I know stuff after a while about the Galway Championship, but Corofin, I think, might be a team to watch. Like the last All-Ireland campaign they were in, they won it. So you never know. Like they could even shock Watty Grimslin and Kilmacud in the All-Ireland series. We'll have to see.
Yeah, no, look, I'll give it to you. You did say Corofin would come through Mike Cullen, and to be fair, they did. They did come through them in the end. And I actually watched I'd say the majority of the game, and I thought it was a very good performance by Corofin. They definitely surprised me. Like, I think Kevin Johnson has got them really, really well set up, both defensively and in terms of attack. Like, they look really, really well coached. And I suppose getting into that final first, it was Corofin 1-11, Mike Cullen 1-9. Corofin were fairly fair. Look, I suppose in the first half, it was quite cagey. It took a while for both teams really to sort of get into the flow of things. But once Corofin settled down, they really started to assert their dominance. And I suppose you have to give a special mention to Gary Sice. He obviously lost his wife, I think tragically earlier in the year or last year. And he obviously dedicated that win to her, and obviously his family and everything else. So I suppose you have to give him huge credit for obviously coming through that and obviously getting the victory. And yeah, I was really impressed with Corofin. I thought they were by far the better side. Mike Cullen got, I think, a late goal and a point from Johnny Maloney just to make it a little bit interesting towards the end. But yeah, big up Corofin, back on top in the Connacht, or back on top in Galway.
Exactly, brilliant result for Corofin, and for Gary Sice in particular, like, brilliant story. And that's another story who rise in the club championship. Like, you even have Johnny Doyle playing at the age of 45 for Alan Wood. I think this maybe tops it. Gary Sice, like another old lad playing for his county. He's 38, 39 years of age. I've seen him speak to Tommy Rooney at the end of the game, went off the ball, and the guy was emotional afterwards. And boy, wouldn't you be, like, to win that final, to dedicate that win to a lost loved one. I think that was absolutely brilliant for Gary Sice. And he's a brilliant footballer as well. It has to be said. 2 points from playing this game, 5 points overall. He was incredible in this game. Inspiration for Corofin, and he has been down through the years as well. But the crucial moment, I thought, by the looks of the match reports and the reports on RT News, was the Tony Gill goal. I think it was midway through the second half. It was a crucial finish for Corofin to get a grip really on the game. And they held that lead throughout it. Like, you look at Dylan Wall, Kieran Malloy, it's great to see him back. Like, he's had these injury layoffs. Like, he was brilliant in the All-Ireland run last year when he lost to Kerry in the All-Ireland final in 2022. But this year, he had to sit out through injury. I think it was an ACL injury. We'd love to see Kieran Malloy back because he's an enjoyable footballer to watch. We will see him now in the club championship. And hopefully he won't get any more injuries because he's an absolutely incredible footballer. We'd love to see him in the club championship. But Mike Cullen, like, by the sounds of it, they just warmed up to the fight earlier on. Corofin, it's like many other county finals. Like, you look at Kerry finals, Dublin finals, Cork finals, Offaly finals, or whatever down through the years. Maybe there's a tendency that the favourites kind of take their eye off the ball a small bit. And maybe that was the thing with Mike Cullen. And Corofin were definitely up for it. They were up for it throughout the game. And even look at their run to the final, they hammered Milltown in that semi-final. That game was over by half-time. And I think that gave them a good state going into this final as well. Like, Mike Cullen were only scrapey over the line going into this final. They only beat Salty Knocknacar in the quarter-final, for example, by a point. Only beat Montbelly Moylott by 2 points. And probably in those sorts of games where they squeaked over the line, it caught up with them in this final. And Corofin went over the line, fair play to them. They played the Ballinasloe Sea Knights are full of Irish in the Connacht semi-final now, and you'd have to fancy them to get to the Connacht final and eventually to win the Connacht championship. So Corofin, they're back with a vengeance, and who's to say they won't go on another All-Ireland run? They've been an incredible club side in the 2010s, the late 2010s in particular, and they could repeat them heroics. They've been absolutely incredible throughout this Galway championship, and as you said, Aaron, they are back.
Absolutely. Yeah, let us know in the comments as well. There's actually plenty of comments flying in there. I wasn't getting any, they weren't coming up for me there, so apologies. I've just been ignoring them there for the open 10 minutes, so we'll get through them now in a couple of minutes. But yeah, no, I do agree. Like, I think it was a fantastic result for Corofin, as we were saying. And actually, like, the last 3 times that they have come through Galway, they've gone on to win the All-Ireland. Now, I know their team has changed ever so slightly. Like, they still have both Farragers, but they're on the bench. Michael Lundy's on the bench. Ronan Steed's on the bench. They obviously have Kieran Malloy back. Liam Silk's in there as well. So they could Corofin go on an All-Ireland charge? I mean, you are looking at Connacht, and you do obviously have some very good sides in there. St. Bridget's, I'm sure, will be a threat. Mohill will be there. But what do you reckon? Corofin going on an All-Ireland charge, possibly?
When you look at the draw, absolutely. Look, you look at Ballina, Stephen Knight's Fulham Irish, that's the first hurdle. I think they'll get over that easily. The final probably against either Bridget's or Mohill. Like, I'd say that should be an easy enough game again. I know Bridget's have decent players themselves, and I see John's watching the podcast. Fair play to you, man, and good luck to Gona next week. Corofin, they have the kind of final against either Mohill or say Bridget's. Like, say Bridget's have some very good players like Brian Stack, like Ben O'Carroll, so they'll still be a threat, but I'd fancy Corofin to get over the line there. And they'll face the Munster champions in the semi-final, which will probably be Dingle. And I think they'll beat Dingle in that semi-final by the looks of how both teams have progressed in the Galway Championship and the Kerry Championship, their respective championships. So I think Corofin will definitely fancy their chances again to an All-Ireland final. Then it's the big test, Wally Glen or Kilmacud Crokes. That's a huge, huge test to get over, whoever wins that game. So, look, it'd actually be very interesting if Kilmacud Crokes were to face Corofin in the final, thinking about it. Shane Walsh against Corofin, that'd be incredible. You know, that'd be some story to write in the club championship. Again, we talk about these stories and stuff like that. And for Shane Walsh to come up against teammates that he's had for so many years of the Galway team in a club game, in a club All-Ireland final nonetheless, would be incredible in its own right. So I definitely fancy Corofin to go on an All-Ireland run. I looked at the odds last night. They're actually third favourites to win it behind Watty Graham's Lane and Kilmacud. So who's to say they can't go on another All-Ireland run? They have the history, they have the players, they have the very good bench as well, like both Farringers, as you mentioned there, and Michael Lundy. Like, Michael Lundy's a brilliant player at club level, I have to say. I seen Ronan Steed actually. He might have started yesterday. I'm not entirely sure. He might have been. I'm not sure, but he was named in the program anyway to start yesterday. So, look, they have some excellent players all over the panel, and they have excellent young players coming through as well. So, yeah, Corofin, I definitely fancy them to go on an All-Ireland charge, having looked at the history that they have and, of course, the players that they have.
Yeah, handsome Zach says here, some achievement by Corofin manager, 3 championships in 3 counties at only 41. Yeah, I believe Kevin Johnson, he was in charge of Thurlestrane, I think, as well, for a good couple of years, and won multiple county titles there in Sligo. And yeah, to be fair, like, I remember when I watched Corofin last year, I think they were playing, it was either Mountbelly, Moylock or Moycullen in the semi-finals, and they lost the game by a point, but I thought they played very well, and they didn't look miles off it, maybe as some people had perhaps suggested, sort of going into that semi-final and maybe going into the Galway Championship this year. But to be fair, that's some going.
It is, yeah. There's some club, and to be honest, like, when the Galway Championship started, you were right, you're saying that it'd be one of 3: Moycullen, Mountbelly, Moylock, Corofin, and these 3 sides, if they get their act together, are probably All-Ireland contenders, all 3 of them. Like, Mountbelly, Moylock, to be fair, were lucky in the game against Padraig Pearson a few years ago, and we probably won't get onto the into that game, or as we go on another podcast completely. That's a discussion for another day. But Moycullen, when you look at it last year, they were excellent against Watty Graham's Lane at times last year. In the Connacht Championship, they blew nearly everybody out of the water. So, like, them 3 sides are well capable of going for the All-Ireland. Never mind the Connacht title, never mind the Galway title. So, to get out of that Galway Championship, which was such high quality, I have to say, this year, like, this year, more than any other year in the Galway Championship, it's probably been heightened as one of the best championships in the country. And by the looks of the scorelines, by the looks of the scoring sheets, the spread of scores, which I was doing in the final preview before the game on Sunday, the Galway Championship probably looked the best championship in the country by a mile. So for Corofin to come out and win that, it must breathe so much confidence into that team. And this quote actually from Kevin Johnson to Maurice Brosnan at the end of the game yesterday, I'm not sure to see it on social media. He was going on about how they have these players, so you may as well use them, net them off the leash. And it was the complete opposite of what Paul O'Donovan and Reno Rangers said last week, which was, as James Horan described, the tripe. And it was just refreshing to see that from a manager of Kevin Johnson's, background, to win 3 county titles and to say that in a post-match interview. Look, I said it on my tweet as well. There'll be a lot of admirers for Corofin after that quote, and rightly so. Like, you definitely wish them the best of luck for going on an All-Ireland run after that. And They have some excellent players. They have likeable players. They have a great history. So, yeah, I think a lot of people will be rooting for Corofin to go on and win this club championship title. And I'd say they'll be rooting for the more to Kilmacud or Wallace Glen. I'm not sure what anybody else thinks of that, but I think so in general. Like Corofin might be the most liked team in the country in the club championship.
They might be. I wouldn't say many people have too much against Wallace Glen either, though. I could understand maybe why people don't want Kilmacud Crokes to come out on top, because they've obviously won it last year and the whole Shane Walsh thing. But Wallace Glen, maybe that their football isn't the most attractive in the world. So, yeah, maybe there is a bit of a reason to get behind Corofin, in fairness. Sean says, what way does the All-Ireland Senior Football Championship work? Who plays who in the semi-finals? So I believe it's Leinster versus Ulster and Connacht versus Munster, isn't it?
Yes.
So, that's... Like, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, but if I was, Corofin... Like you know what I mean? Like, because you're looking at the Connacht Club Championship, all right? You've got, obviously they have to get through Ballina, Stevenage, but as we were saying last week, like Ballina, Stevenage didn't look particularly great in Mayo. Mayo clubs don't do particularly well in Connacht. I think it's been 10, 15 years the last time since a Mayo club won a Connacht Club Football Championship. And then obviously you're looking at the other side, St. Bridget's, Mohill, and then they'll play the winners of Munster, and playing the winners of Munster. Would definitely be the perceived easier side of the draw than playing the winners of Ulster or Leinster. So, Corofin could very well be on tune to get to a final. And yeah, if I was a betting man, maybe Corofin might be worth a bit of a punt, considering they are, the last 3 times they came through Galway, they went on to win the All-Ireland as well.
Exactly. So, but having said that as well, I know Corofin, and rightly so, would be favourites for Connacht. But a lot of people were saying to me in the past few weeks, don't sleep on Bridges either. And when you look at that side of the draw as well, if Bridges get past Connacht for the Roscommon Championship, they have excellent players. They have an excellent history, obviously, winning the All-Ireland title in 2013. Look, if they get past Connacht, the sky's the limit really for them too. So, look, it's going to be interesting to see who comes out of Connacht. Will it be Corofin? Will it be Bridges? Or maybe even Mohill? Mohill have a very impressive team from Leitrim. So, look, it'd be interesting to see who comes out of Connacht. You have to say that whoever comes out of Connacht will probably get to the All-Ireland final. So, I'd say the Connacht sides will be eyeing up this Connacht Championship and thinking, this could be a route into the All-Ireland final here for us, lads. So, yeah, I think Corofin will definitely be breaking their lips, but don't sleep on Bridges either.
Absolutely. Yeah, looking at the Kerry final, East Kerry 210, Mid Kerry 15 points, East Kerry just about getting over the line in the end. I suppose a goal towards the end of the first half from Paddy Clifford was crucial. It gave East Kerry a bit of a cushion going into the second half. But do you know what? Fair play to Mid Kerry, because there has been so many times in Gaelic football, especially in club championship matches, like even in the Corofin Mike Cullen game, Mike Cullen got a late goal, but even at that, the game was already over at that point. But Mid Kerry gave this a real rally, and to be, they were 5 points down, I think, at half time. There were 5 or 6 points down going down the home stretch in the second half, and they managed to, obviously they didn't pull it back to win, but they managed to get it back to a point. So, fair play, most teams in those scenarios against a team like East Kerry, with the likes of David Clifford, Paddy Clifford, we don't need to go through the names that are on this East Kerry team. Most teams would crumble, but Mid Kerry didn't. They gave it a right rally.
They did, and they did themselves very proud, in fairness to them, and I thought they played excellently. They played on the front football as well. It probably just shows that a team can be an underdog, but you can still go for it and come close to the winning team eventually. It just showed that, because Mid Kerry weren't fancied by much people coming into this final, but they still had a crack off East Kerry, and they nearly even won the game. Just with a few things, even that last point, I don't know who fisted it over the bar off the top of my head, but even go for the juggler, go for the goal. If he went for the goal there, East Kerry would have lost it. So that's just them little things. And Mid Kerry would feel sore in the morning, obviously. Last year, they wanted to avenge last year, because last year they did not perform to their full potential. East Kerry rolled over them pretty easily. This year they proved what a good side they are, and what good players are there, that Mid Kerry team. Ian O'Connor, I've been told about him from people I know from that Mid Kerry region, that he's a one to watch. I've seen him now yesterday. Very good kicker. I think 100% shot accuracy, which was absolutely incredible. Nathan Breen at full back, I think, is a very good player. Maybe Jack O'Connor would be looking at him and thinking he could get on this Kerry team. Dark Cleary didn't do much when he came on, but he's another threatening player. Yeah, but well done to Mick Kerry for putting it up to East Kerry. But East Kerry, you have to say fair play to them. I know Mick Kerry probably had most of the possession, they had most turnovers, they had most shots, everything like that. But the shot accuracy for East Kerry yesterday was scary for a club side. 70%. That's incredible. You know, it's incredible shooting in particular. 12 shots taken out as a possible 17. Incredible, really. And they had 2 goal chances. Adam Moynihan quoted this on Twitter. Tripodi Clifford and Luke Crowley, they took them both. And that's probably the difference between the two sides. East Kerry are probably further along in their developments. Mid Kerry are just a bit behind. But that was the only difference between the two sides. It was a little tough game yesterday. I have to say I really, really enjoyed it. The first time I really enjoyed a football game in a few weeks, I have to say. It was a very, very good game of football. Very entertaining. And a lot of people complain about the structures of the Kerry Championship this season. But the 2 games I watched, Dingle and Mid Kerry, and this final, I was really enthralled by them. I thought there were 2 excellent games of football, and probably the Kerry Championship and the Galway Championship and 2 championships that saved it in the whole island in many ways. I think they've been 2 excellent championships. In many ways, they've been very, very competitive, and they've been very, very good to watch on the ice. So fair play to East Kerry for going and win it. Fair play to Mid Kerry for making it a game of it. But a crucial part of this, though, if Fossa win the Intermediate Championship in 2 weeks' time, the East Kerry boys won't have the Cliffords or Emmett O'Shea next year. It would be a very interesting dynamic if that happens.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, Renee says here, I'm sorry if you take this as an offence, but every time I see you, Aaron, I image Davy Fitzgerald. Well, there you go. That's an intro. I don't think I've ever had anyone that say that I look like Davy Fitzgerald. But there we go. There we go. Do you think I look like Davy Fitzgerald?
Oh no, not at all. No. You don't have the mannerisms of him either.
No. I was going to try doing an impression of him there, but I was like, you know, I'll butcher his accent. You know, like. Oh, but yeah. I am a big fan of Davy Fitz though. So maybe I don't know. Maybe it's translating to me or something. But there we go. Sean says, I reckon it will be Corofin versus Kilmacud Crokes. Yeah, that's very likely in fairness. And Dylan was echoing what you were saying there. The rumour is Killarney Legion is pulling out of East Kerry to protest the county championship format, and in 2 weeks East Kerry could lose Cliffords if Fossa win intermediate. I think he had another comment there as well. It is just a rumour, obviously at the moment. It's not confirmed, but yeah, like obviously. Yeah.
The thing is as well, actually, I noticed that the East Kerry team yesterday, James O'Donoghue didn't play for them, and he's a Killarney Legion boy. I'm asking Dylan now, does that have anything to do with it? Is that why James O'Donoghue didn't play for the region yesterday? It'd be very interesting because, like, if James O'Donoghue played yesterday, that's another fire to your armour that you have. So, yeah, it was interesting, actually. I didn't see him on the panel. Like, it would have been a scary for Varline, no doubt about it, but maybe that's a worry for East Kerry coming down the stretch. If Fossa do go up from intermediate.
Yeah, it is interesting. All right, like I'd be like, what's your take on the whole scenario, like involving East Kerry? Obviously, Kerrans O'Rahilly's are, I suppose, not too happy at the moment because obviously they got relegated from the senior championship, and that obviously follows on from Austin Stacks being relegated last year. And as we know in the Kerry championship, like you obviously have the county championship, you have the club championship. In the county championship, which I think is the championship we're talking about right now, there's only 8 senior teams, I think, isn't there?
8 senior clubs.
8 senior clubs, yeah. So I mean, when you look at it that way, like the fact that a team can get relegated from there is, you know, it's a little bit like, especially with the fact that there's only 8. Like when you look around the country, like Dublin, obviously I think of 16. I don't know how many senior clubs are in Cork, but generally I think 8 is definitely the least I've seen anyway in, across all senior championships.
I think it is as well. Just for clarity, there's 12 in the Cork Championship, plus divisional sides and things like that as well. But it's actually interesting with the Kerry Championship. Like I looked at Kieran O'Rahilly's proposals, and it might seem like sour grapes considering they went down just a week beforehand. But I looked at their proposal, and maybe there's some sense to it. A lot of them do make sense, the proposals, in fairness to Kieran O'Reilly's there. But the one thing that didn't is dropping the divisionals to intermediate. I think that would be too far. I think county championship still needs divisional side, but I put forward, I don't know what Kerry fans like this because I'm a Cork man and stuff like that, but I put forward the Cork kind of template where you'd have 12 club sides in the senior championship. So you'd have the 8, if say you put it in for Kerry now, you'd have the 8 senior teams from this year, plus the 4 semi-finals from the intermediate. So you'd have Fossa, Milltown Castlemaine, Austin Stacks, and Killarney Legion joining the 8 sides this year. And then you have the 12 club sides in it. Then for the divisional sides, you'd have a divisional championship that's completely separate. Them divisional sides, East Kerry, Big Kerry, Field Rangers, St. Brendan's Board will play each other in that competition. And only one of those sides can make it into the club championship then. And then with the 12 club sides, there's 3 groups of 4. The top 2 in each group make it through to the knockout stage. There's a ranking out of the top of the 6 teams, obviously 2 by 3 is 6. The top ranked team out of them 6 will go straight through to the semi-finals. That leaves 5 clubs plus the 1 division side. Let's say East Kerry will go into a quarter-final against those 5 club sides. You'd have 6 teams then. You'd have 3 games. And the winner of them 3 games joins the top ranked team in the semi-final. I think that's a reasonable one for Kerry to do. I don't know what Kerry fans would think about that. Maybe they'd say we don't want to follow the Cork suggestion or whatever, but I think it works. I think it genuinely works for divisional sides and things like that. Like you look at the Cork Championship, like you have the likes of Duhallow, Carberry, Avondhu, UCC, or whoever's in it. You even could have MTU Kerry in that Kerry Championship if Kerry really wanted to do that, if they wanted to go down that road. So, I think that would be a fair solution for all Kerry clubs. But what Kieran O'Reilly were saying, they were saying about the intermediate and junior championships as well, that was kind of connected. And it's a bit unfair when you think about it with the intermediate championship in Munster because let's say Fossa now win the intermediate championship. They'll come up against the Cork champions, which are Kilnamatra. Kilnamatra are 25th ranked out of club scenes in Cork. Fossa are 9th in Kerry. I think that's a bit unfair. I think the 2 counties nearly have to meet halfway on this. I think the Senior A champions should go forward in Cork and intermediate. That's a wrongdoing on Cork's point of view. But for Kerry, I think the club championship should be increased to 12 teams. I think 12 teams is the perfect number. 16 is decent as well. But I think 12 teams plus divisional championship, a separate competition. And you get a cup at the end of it too in Cork. Like you win a divisional championship, you get, that's called the Tide Murphy Cup, I think, down here. You get that sort of trophy and you win that, and it's brilliant for the players. You get a night out, you get a Monday club or whatever. But then you go into the club championship, that's another reward for you. So I think it's the best of both worlds for divisional clubs, divisional sides, and club championship sides. I'd be interested to see Kerry fans' thoughts about that and the comment that structure. But I think genuinely, I think that would be a saving grace for the Kerry championship in general.
Yeah, like what's your take like with divisional sides? I mean, you do have a lot of people who come out and criticize it. Like I think for players it's very good. It's a great way to up the standard. It's a great way for every player to be involved. Like I think in Dublin, I wouldn't like to see divisional sides come into Dublin as a fan because of the fact that you would have scenarios like East Kerry where you would have dominant clubs to win championships. And to be fair, I think Dublin clubs are already quite big as they are. I don't think we need any more superpowers coming in. But I think what it does do is it gives junior footballers, it gives intermediate footballers a great chance to obviously play at the highest level in the county. And we were talking about it there, players like Aina O'Connor, who obviously looks very good for Mid Kerry. Like, I don't know what club he plays with, but I don't like, would he have got seen as well as he has if it wasn't for divisional sides? Probably not, you know? So like, I think divisional sides do a great work. I do think though, like, with support, because even the atmosphere in the Kerry final didn't seem great. I think it's an awkward one for supporters because it's very hard to support a region, do you know, that way? Like, because I'd imagine in Dublin, like if you had west, north, or south, it's like, would I like it'd be great to watch the team play and it'd be entertaining to see them play, but would it really be all that important? So from a fan perspective, it's probably not great. And then obviously other clubs as well, like I can understand their frustration. Like I seen there the Gael manager after the win over Cairns O'Reilly's, he was saying it was a disgrace as well. So it does seem to be a lot of clubs who are coming out sort of in favour of Kerrins O'Rahilly's and sort of against the system. And it is interesting, like, how come they're all coming out now, though, and they haven't come out previous years, because this has always been the system for a long time, really, as far as I know.
To be honest, that's probably what I was thinking as well. Like, that's the biggest surprise. It's not a surprise that they were complaining about it. It's a big surprise that they've only come out about this now.
Yeah. Is it like, could it be just because the big clubs are going down? Do you know, like Austin Stacks are going down, Kerrins O'Rahilly's are going down. Do you know, that nearly sounds like the reason why. Like, I'd say all the other clubs who've been getting relegated down to intermediate level over the last couple of years are saying, well, you know, that's the way it's always been, so tough, you know.
That's actually funny because like, it's a similar situation in the Premier League with VAR. Like, Wolves fans are going on about VAR decisions, saying why aren't you complaining? The Premier League clubs or Premier League fans complaining about VAR decisions when it goes against us, but then it goes against Liverpool and Arsenal, and suddenly the wheel turns. So maybe it's that kind of a way too with the Kerry Championship that the big sides are going down. That's quite a coincidental coming into my head now, but yeah, I think the general reason why I'd probably be against the Kerry Championship, I think having 8 clubs and having the 9th best club as the intermediate, I think it's a bit unfair. Having the 9th best club as the intermediate winners, and I think it's unfair. And if you're the country, not just Cork, you look at the Limerick, Clare, Tipperary teams, they just don't have a chance because they're coming up against the 9th best team from Kerry. Fossa, I know, like, they have the Cliffords and all that, but to put it into words, the 9th best team in Kerry, you know, doesn't sound great for going into the intermediate championship in many ways. But yeah, am I in favour of divisional sides? Like, you'd say that you would be against them in Dublin, because Dublin is kind of I know it's a big population, but it's a small enough area. I would say that, like, it's very, very localised, and clubs all bunch each other. Like, even Seamus was explaining to me about Dublin clubs. Like, you would be in a Dublin club at one place, and then 5 minutes down the road there's another club.
Yeah,
that was the situation at Dublin, what Seamus was explaining to me. But especially, I've been to Kerry loads of times. I am living in Cork. It's very different down here. Like, clubs can be very, very spread out, and so people from around the clubs, especially junior clubs, will be out to support the division. They simply put, because, like, you look at even, and Ian O'Connor is a brilliant example, Milltown, Castlemaine. I don't think they've ever been a senior club. They could go up senior now in 2 weeks if they beat Fossa. Like, that would be a big win for them in particular. But Ian O'Connor probably wouldn't have been noticed if the division was a team. And neither would Paddy Clifford. Mark Brosnan actually mentioned that on Twitter. Like, there is some positives about the divisional championship in Kerry and Cork, and that's why I keep them. But I put them in a separate kind of competition. And let's not forget, Cork had this problem in the hurling championship. Remember Emo Kelly? They won 3 Cork hurling championships in a row. And people were saying, oh, okay, that's a worry. But what happened, why that Emo Kelly team kind of disbanded, is because what's happening in Kerry now is kind of a process. You look at the Emo Kelly team, like Castle Martyrs, the Castle Lions, the Father O'Neills, all them clubs actually went up and up and up, Senior A, Premier Senior, and then they couldn't play in those teams. But actually, what Cork do differently to Kerry, the divisional side can only be comprised of the 25th best team, best club, down. We carried the 9th best team down. And that is why the divisional sides are a bit overpowered than they should be, in my opinion. That's just my view on it. And that's why the likes of the Cliffords and James O'Donoghue and the Austin staff players can play for the divisions any way they like, because Kerry have such a high ceiling, Cork have such a low ceiling. And that's probably the difference. Like, you rarely see it in Cork that the divisional side goes on a run. Like, Emo Kelly's probably the outlier over the last few years. Like, I think the last football divisional side to win the Cork Championship, I think, was 2004 with Carberry. So, like, that was a long time ago. But it's because it's junior sides and intermediate sides. Like for example, in Carberry now, you'd have a load of junior clubs being represented. You have the likes of Brian O'Donovan for Barrow, you have Brian O'Driscoll for Ty McCorry, so would have been in the Cork team. But again, that's another point. Would Brian O'Driscoll have been noticed by the Cork team if he didn't play for Carberry? would Paddy Clifford have been noticed for Kerry if he didn't play for East Kerry? There is a room for divisional competition, but I think Kerry need to do it a slight bit differently. Maybe it's a similar way to Cork do, to give clubs a chance to grow and develop. I think that's the way that Kerry should do it. But yeah, I think divisional championships, I'd definitely be for them, for here to stay. Probably it's not suited to Dublin. Probably not. But I think it's suited for the likes of Cork, for Kerry, for Limerick, for Clare. I think it's a great thing to have, personally, for junior clubs, for intermediate clubs, to have their day out in the sun and play against, let's just say, like a Carberry come up against a Nemo Rangers, or East Kerry come up against a Dr. Crokes. I think it's brilliant for those sorts of players, junior players, to go up against the very best in a particular county.
There we go. There we go. DC says here, Aina O'Connor has played county for Kildare. So there we go. There we go. Looking at the Limerick final then. So it's Newcastle West 3-5 at there. 13 points. Your thoughts on that game? I know you've obviously been doing a bit of work in Limerick this year. So what was your assessment on the game? I don't know if you watched much of it.
Yeah, I watched the highlights, the main bits of it, and yeah, it looked like a very good game of football. And they definitely gave it their all in this game. But Newcastle West, goals win games. They got the 3 goals, and to be fair, the first goal was an absolute fluke. Mike McMahon, nearly 40 years of age, and he's still going. It's incredible, really. But he dropped the ball it was going into the goalkeeper's hands, but Owen Hurley just got the touch in, and it went into the back of the net. Incredible finish for that. The second goal was a blaster from Owen Hurley. Brilliant finish by him. And then Brian Nix got the goal in the second half. But Adair were down 4 points in the second half, but they still fought back. Look, Adair actually, they were dead to sucker punch in the semi-final against Father Casey's, where Father Casey scored the last 2-1 of the game or something like that, and it brought it to extra time. Adair could have folded then. They didn't. They went on and won that extra time. And they definitely showed their mettle in this game as well. And they should be very proud of their efforts. But Newcastle West, that's a third Limerick championship in a row. It's kind of a dynasty now in Limerick. In many ways, Jimmy Lee is now coming into the Limerick job, and I think he'd be excellent in charge of those players. And Newcastle West have more players coming up. Like, I noticed about 3 or 4 of those players that played minor for Limerick a few years ago who pushed the Cork minor team all the way. You look at Aaron Neville, Rowan O'Connor, Sean Garrity. Like, there's some good players in Newcastle West at the moment, obviously with the experience of Ian Corbett and Owen Hurley. And of course, Mike McMahon himself, the 40-year-old. So, like, they have excellent players all over the pitch, Newcastle West. They'll definitely trouble Clonmel Commercials next week. Will they win it? I'm not sure. But yeah, it should be an interesting game actually against Clonmel Commercials, because in many ways, I know the game is on in Tipperary, but geographically, I'd have to look this up now, but I think Newcastle West might be closer to Thurles than Clonmel Commercials is, because Clonmel Commercials is in the south of Tipperary, Newcastle West is near the north of Tipperary, so maybe it's a controversial venue to play it there. So, yeah, it should be an interesting game, this game, Newcastle West and Clonmel Commercials next week. So, yeah, big up the Limerick champions, Newcastle West, but they'll have to go again next year. That's the third final they've lost in a row, and again to the same opposition, Newcastle West. They just can't get over the line against them, but they lost by a point. They lost because goals win games, so they're getting closer.
Absolutely, yeah. Keep the comments coming in there. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe and all that good stuff. Kilkew, obviously a great win for them against Derry Gonley Harps in the Ulster Club Football Championship, 2-13 to 1-7. Yeah, comfortable result really for Kilkew. Like, they definitely do have Derry Gonley Harps number, you would have to say, at the moment. Like, over the last couple of years, obviously beat them in a Ulster final a couple of years ago. And yeah, I mean, to be fair to Kilkew, like, they're coming into that Crossmaglen game, or they're coming into their next game in a good bit of form, in fairness, going into the Ulster Club Football Championship, going into the later stages. So yeah, I mean, great result for them.
Brilliant results, yeah. I think they were 1-8 to a point up at half time, and the game was over. We actually stopped looking at it. I thought Kilkew were actually going to romp home in this game, but Paul Devlin, incredible performance by him. And actually, we talked about predictions on that podcast last week. Kevin Kennedy, what a call on Paul Devlin. Incredible performance from him, scoring 1 goal and 3 points. Like, Anthony Morgan had a good performance as well. Ryan Johnston from midfield. And actually, Ryan Johnston, when it looks at Scorpio anyway, got a black card midway through the second half, and it probably brought Derry Gonley back into the game just a tad bit. But Kilkew were always going to win this game. Simply, they're just overpowered. They're brilliant. So Carl Lacey, what a coach to get in, what a leader Conor Laverty did, that you have the squad as well, which is incredible. Feat to have Eugene Brannigan, a brilliant performance again by him, Niall Bob O'Kane, brilliant, Darragh Brannigan. So they are back. Kilcoo are back. They're back with a vengeance, and they're going to be going for Scottstown now next week. It's going to be an interesting game. Scottstown have some excellent players themselves. So, yeah, big up to Kilcoo. Brilliant performance by them. But Derry Conley, for man of football, just isn't up to it really as Aaron. It's not up to the standard of winning an Ulster Championship, and but it looks at their performances against Kilcoo over the last few years. I remember the Ulster final in 2021, they got absolutely slaughtered. So they just don't have Kilcoo's number, and Kilcoo, the much better team in this game, and on the march.
Absolutely. There was a few comments coming in here from Paul, who says, "You two don't have a clue. What are you on about? You're giving me a sore head." Well, what I would say to that is you're here watching us. Do you know what I mean? And I can see you with loads of comments and everything else. So, do you know that way? Like, I mean, like the Kardashians give me a headache, but I don't watch them. So that's all I'll say. But there we go. Meadman says, "Lads, can you wish my club Rathkenny the best of luck in the Leinster intermediate semi-final? Very small club, a great achievement to get this far." Yeah, best of luck in the next round, and hopefully it all works out for you lads right there. Looking at the Leinster quarterfinals, obviously through the weekend. Kilmacud Crokes, I mean, they dispatched their Oak very comfortably. It was 112 to 4 points, an 11-point win. I mean, yeah, like this was expected, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, really was. Arrow, like there was the hope that Arrow were actually playing some good football in the first half, but once they didn't take their chances, you knew this game was going one way and one way only. Kilmacud, much the better team, and if you allow Shane Walsh, the caliber of him, to run through on a goal and have a flick hitter near your goal, you're always in trouble. Brilliant finish by Shane Walsh, but some of the defending at the end was very questionable. 4 points overall from Arrow. But look, again, like for man of football, Cardiff football just isn't up to Dublin football. Simple as. And we all knew that, like Cardiff football, they tried their best, fair play to them. But Kilmacud, the much better team. Paul Mannion, it was almost like a training session for him. Shane Walsh didn't even have Craig Diaz in this game. And actually, the defenders stood up massively in this game. Dan O'Brien, Andy McGowan, did some extra performance. Andy McGowan especially scored 2 points in the day. Darragh Mullen having 100% shot accuracy, 4 points overall. Had a brilliant game of football, and it would do his confidence the world good. But tougher test to follow, Aaron. Kilmacud eased the victory here. Nothing more to that.
Yeah, like, were you surprised they even put this game on Saturday evening? Like, I'd imagine, I know as you were saying, like you done stats on the game, but I'd imagine Saturday evening, like, surely they could have put a better game on here. Like, realistically, what were people expecting? Like, and you know, like, I had to laugh. Like, I think a tweet, it might have been from RT or something like that, but it was like after a slow start here, Oga finally got going, and I think it was like 27 minutes, they 2 points on the board or something of that nature. And I just thought, like, come on, like, you're not gonna, you can't kid us with this. Like surely they could have showed it. Or, like, I understand why they show Kilmacud Crokes, because of the fact that obviously they're a Dublin club. Like, they do probably draw a big audience. People will tune in for Shane Walsh, Paul Mannion, and everything else. But even at that, like, even for myself, like, I wasn't really interested in this game, to be honest. I kept an eye on it, and you know, I was kind of thinking, if the game becomes close, maybe I'll turn it on. But you know, like, I wasn't really too interested in it. So surely they could have gone with a different game for Saturday evening. Even the Kilcoo there, I know the Kilcoo Derry Gonley game was kind of one-sided as well, but like maybe that game would have been better.
Would you have said the Galway final on a Saturday night?
Yeah.
Like, they could have done that, you know. Yeah, it was just lazy, really, wasn't it? Lazy picking a game in general. And actually, the game before that on RT was a rugby game between Munster and the Dragons. And Munster, it was a comprehensive win for them, but it was an entertaining game and a brilliant game. And before that, Leinster played against Edinburgh, and that was a close game of rugby. Those two games definitely topped it. I think, like, most of the sports fans would have watched them Leinster and Munster games and then watched the game afterwards. Oh, there might be a movie on it. Oh no, there's another match. There's a GA match on. And then you see the first few minutes and you're like, oh, You know where this is going. There's no point in watching this. Yeah, it wasn't that kind of game, was it? Like they could have easily put the Galway final on, maybe even the Limerick football final on. Why did they go for this game? I'm not too sure. Even Blessington against RD St Mary's, possibly in the Leinster Championship, they could have even gone for that. That would have been a close game. But no, they chose this game because I could see why it would drag a large audience. You look at Shane Walsh, Paul Mannion, Andy McGowan, Dan O'Brien, and Robbie Brennan, the manager himself, Kilmacud All-Ireland champions. They're a Dublin team. Turlock O'Brien's in the dugout for Rogue, and you were thinking this could be entertaining because of the names there, but the game just didn't take off at all. It was 8-3 at half time. Rogue only scored a point in the second half. And to be honest, looking at it, Aaron, they weren't close. They weren't close to even closing the gap. So, yeah, bit of a waste of time really for Marty and showing that game. And maybe you should, like, even there was a League of Ireland game on at the same time, Cove Ramblers against Waterford United. Maybe even show that instead of the Kilmacud game. You may as well, So, yeah, bad call for Marty.
Yeah, just looking at the other 3 games in Leinster, they were all actually fairly one-sided. Looking at it here, St. Loman's 120, Kilo Young Emmets of Longford 110. So very comfortable result there for St. Loman's. Naas with a big result versus Summerhill, 212 to 8 points. That result kind of surprised me a little bit, in fairness. Like, don't get me wrong, I expected Naas to come through it, but I would have thought Summerhill would have given them a bit of a better game. And St. Mary's with a big result versus Blessington as well, 3-9 to 2-5. So yeah, thoughts on those 3 games? Like, probably no real surprise really with the results. I mean, the Blessington RD, I wouldn't know too much about either of them 2 clubs, to be honest with you. But in terms of Naas and St. Loman's coming through, like, I think we both would have expected that if we're being honest.
Definitely, yeah. And you would have expected RD to get through as well because of the experience that RD had from last year's Leinster campaign and the way they beat Naomh from Martin in the Loud final. And the Loud Championship seems to be a good quality, better quality than the Wicklow Championship anyway. So no surprises at all this weekend. And actually, there was a few Longford fans that were saying that St. Loman's could do well in Leinster. Like, they could put up a game to Kilmacud Crokes, they could put up a game to Naas. And the Longford fans were saying, hang on, you're dismissing Kilo. There was a reason for that. Like, Longford is just not up to the. Again, Longford is the club championship of Longford is just not up to the standards that Lomond set. Naas and Summerhill, if Ratoath were there, would have been a different game. I know that's a disrespect to Summerhill now. They're the Meath champions, deservedly so. They've won the championship fair and square. But I have the feeling if Ratoath were there, I think they would have put up a better challenge than Summerhill did, because Summerhill, it was their first championship in years, and they're well entitled to celebrate. Like, it was a big, big moment for them. But if Ratoath would have won it, they would have been on the verge of something great. They're going for 3 in a row on Meath potentially. But instead, they went. Summerhill went on and won that game, and Naas pushed home in the end. But what it does set up, Aaron, it does set up a very good semi-final between Lomans and Naas. It's definitely a difficult one to call. For me, I'd back Lomans for now. Like John Henson, Ronan O'Toole, Sam McCartan, they're inter-county players in a forward line. That's incredible for them. So I'd back St. Lomans still, but Naas could put it out of the bag.
Absolutely, yeah. Denise was saying here, though, Mullinachta in 2018, the only team to be Kilmacud and first Longford team to reach the Leinster Club final, never mind win it. So there you go. I mean, look, Longford sides every now and again do all right, but to be fair, that probably was very rare. Like, I can't remember too many other Longford teams doing too well. But there we go. Keane says here, looking forward to Tralee v Crossmaglen on Saturday. Promises to be a cracker. I'm tipping Tralee to win this one. Yeah, we might maybe just preview some of the games next weekend before touching on some of the hurling action from the weekend. So the Ulster quarterfinals, you've got Tralee versus Crossmaglen. You've got Glen versus Erin's Own. You've got Gowna versus Niamh Conall and Scottstown v Kilcoo. So, I mean, Tralee v Crossmaglen, first of all. I mean, Tyrone Club versus Armagh Club. Always a bit of rivalry anytime, Tyrone and Armagh come up against each other, even if it is 2 clubs coming up against each other. And it should pose to be a very interesting game. I mean, Crossmaglen, as we know, have looked very good in Armagh for the last sort of, I mean, for forever, really, for as long as I know. But it's been a while, really, since they went on any sort of run, really, in Ulster. It's definitely been a good while since they went on a run in Ulster. Coming up against Tralee, who obviously came through Tyrone. I mean, but I feel like it's kind of similar in some ways. It's been a while since we've seen either a Tyrone or an Armagh club do anything really significant in the Ulster Club Football Championship. So this is sort of like the perfect opportunity to get a win and progress on into the semi-finals.
It definitely is, yeah. It's going to be a huge game for both sides. It's going to be a very interesting game, I have to say. Tralee obviously proved nearly all the doubters wrong, beating Errigal Kieran, like, especially without Matty Donnelly in the team. Like, they're going to be without Matty Donnelly this game too. So, like, but they still have Lee Brennan. He's a big scorer in that team. Rory Brennan, the centre back. Like, they have some very good players, Tralee, but you'd still have to fancy Crossback Lane to go on and win it. Looking at the outside, looking at the odds first, you look at the teams, the selections, the management teams. You have to back the Armagh men to get over the line this one. And Crossback Lane, they have the potential, the looks of them, like Rian O'Neill, Cian McConville, Oisin O'Neill. They have some very, very good players all over the pitch, really. So you have to back Crossback Lane to go on and win this game. But like, Cian McConville, Rian O'Neill, they didn't really step up against Ballybay last year in the Ulster Championship. It'd be interesting to see how they step up now this year against the Tralee team that they do well in the Tyrone Championship. Fair play. I think they've went on one Ulster Championship run in the past, but they didn't do much in it. So this is a big opportunity for Crossback Lane to get to the semi-final. I think they will. I think they'll get over the line in this. But Crossback Lane, if they're going to do anything with these good crop of young players that they have, including Cian McConville, they have to do it now.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, I haven't seen too much of them this year, but I remember watching them that Ballybay game, and they did I think technically they've got some really, really good players. I think that goes without saying, but it was just physically they looked miles off Ballybay. Like, Ballybay, I just thought bullied them and out-muscled them in more ways than one. But yeah, I would back Crossmaglen, like, with some of the names and players that they have. I think they should have enough to come through Tralee, considering how intense the Tyrone Championship is compared to Crossmaglen coming through Armagh. But yeah, it could really go the entire way, and you wouldn't be surprised if extra time, penalties maybe comes into the equation here as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. I suppose we're both back in Watty Graham's Glen to come through. Aaron's own Cargan. I mean, margin of victory, what are you thinking?
I'm going to go 5 points, actually. I think Cargan will keep it tight. They'll keep it tight at the back, but eventually Watty Graham's game will get a penalty or something like that, or a goal, a scrappy goal, and eventually the floodgates might open towards the last few minutes. So I think between 5 and 8 points, I think Watty Graham's game should win that game.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think it should be fairly comfortable indeed for Watty Graham's Glen. Gowna versus Neve Cunnell. I mean, Gowna are looking good. I mean, they scored 6 goals, was it, in the Cavan final? They're being tipped to maybe go on a bit of a run. Obviously, no Cavan club has ever won the Ulster Senior Club Football Championship, I believe. I'm sure John McMahon might correct me in the comments if he's still watching. But yeah, I mean, Gowna, I think this could be a real opportunity for them.
Big opportunity, yeah. And Nave Quinnell don't necessarily do well in the Ulster Championship, so it's a big opportunity for a Cavan club to make it on their own. And Gowna have some very good players. Like, they have the bands, I think, in that team. I think, what's his name? Matt McKeever as a wing back, as a player that I've heard about, has done really well. But to score 5 or 6 goals in any final is incredible. And to score it against Kingscourt is even better. Kingscourt team that have the likes of Jordan Morris in that team. So, look, this is a big opportunity for Gowna to go on and run. Like, Cavan club hasn't gone on a run in previous seasons. So this is a big opportunity for them to get over the line against a Nave Quinnell team that got over the line in Donegal. Fair play to them. But the Donegal champions don't necessarily do well in All-Ireland series or Ulster series, should I say, in years gone by. So Gowna, this is a big opportunity for you. And I'd say most of the Cavan population, including John himself, would say, don't mess this up.
Absolutely, yeah. I might go for Gowna maybe to pull off a bit of a shock, bit of an upset there. Renee said here, when mentioning the Gowna's game, could you please mention Yana's 4-leaf closer fundraiser for a girl who sustained life-changing injuries on her way to work. Just look it up on Google. Yeah, I've definitely seen that being shared around quite a bit. And I think I follow a Cavan Club Championship page, and I know they've been sharing it quite a bit as well. So yeah, look, I would recommend people to I was actually just having a look at it there, like 153,000 raised so far of 250,000 is the target they're going for there. So yeah, I suppose if anyone could check that out, definitely go for it. I'll leave a link in the description as well if anyone wants to check it out. And Renee also says the Silver Fox Mark McKeever is known as. Looking at the last game in Ulster, Scottstown Kilcoo. I mean, like when you look at what Scottstown have on paper, like I remember bigging them up a couple of years ago, like with the players that they have in Rory Began, Kieran and Darren Hughes. I think Conor McCarthy's in there as well. Like they have some serious players, but they never, like a lot of clubs in Ulster, they never seem to quite be able to get a cut of teams. And like I remember Kilcoo played them a couple of years ago, I think, and absolutely hammered them. So like it's hard to look past Kilcoo, really.
It is, yeah, definitely. Scottstown do have some very good players. I have to say the Hughes brothers are very good. Conor McCarthy is a very, very good player. They have most of the Monaghan team in that Scottstown side. And the big thing for them is to go on a run Ulster. And they've probably been dealt the nightmare draw, one of the nightmare draws anyway in Kilcoo. How do you get over this Kilcoo team? The answer is you probably don't. You look at the way Kilcoo get over teams, the skill that they have, the temperament that they have, the sheer desire that they have. They're beating Scottstown. I think they're going to beat Scottstown. But Scottstown, if they are to win this game, they have to match Kilcoo's intensity. If they don't do that, good luck, good night. I think Scottstown, if they're up for it, are capable of doing that. The question is, do they have the temperament to do it on the day?
Yeah. So you're going for Kilcoo?
Yeah, I think Kilcoo will probably win this game by about 6 points.
Yeah, 6 points. Yeah, I suppose they are coming in very good form. Yeah, I'd say maybe a little bit less, 3-4 points maybe, but yeah, I probably would fancy Kilcoo to come through in fairness. But yeah, looking at the two Connacht quarterfinals that is in action: Ballina, Stevenage v Fulham Irish, Culera, Strandhill v St. Bridget's. I mean, like, is there shocking? I mean, you would look at Ballina and St. Bridget's to surely come through both those two games. I mean, is there any world where, I mean, we don't know, like, imagine you don't know much about Fulham Irish. I certainly don't. Maybe if any London fans are tuning in, they can let us know. But I do remember, I think St. Kieran's given Turles Strand a good run for their money a couple of years ago, and they nearly came out out with a win. But surely Ballina and St. Bridget's come through both those two games.
Yeah, I say so. The only thing I know about Fulham Irish, sorry to any Fulham Irish fans out there, but I know old Mulligan, the Tyrone legend, used to play for them. Yeah, that's all I know.
He's obviously not playing anymore, I take it.
No, he's not. It's he's a mad lad. But I'd say he's not going to play there anymore. I'd say the legs are nearly gone. I'd say he owns a pub in Liverpool, I think it is. So I think he's just going to concentrate on what he has up there. The other thing I recognise with Fulham Irish, to be honest, they have the same name as a soccer team in the Premier League, Fulham. So
here we go. Yeah,
you know, they might call on I don't know. They might call on Andres Pereira to take free kicks, or they might call on Tom Kerry or Issa Diop or Bird Leno to go in goal to save a penalty from Evan Regan or whatever. They could do that, but no, I don't think realistically they're going to do that. Fulham, I think, have a game next week in the Premier League, coincidentally, so that's off the table. But yeah, I think Ballina should get over the line, and likewise with Bridget's. I don't know much about Culera, Strandhill. Fair play to them for getting over the line in a Sligo Championship that contains the likes of Turles Strand, who have provided a dynasty in that Sligo Championship over the last few years. But I think Bridget's, Brian Stack, Ben O'Carroll, I don't think Culera are stopping those two players. But he is mildly, so I think it'll be easy enough to call those games. So Bridget's and Ballina to get over the line there.
Yeah, same. I was going to say maybe they could put Mitrovic up top or something, but then I remembered he doesn't even play for them anymore. So there we go. but yeah, maybe he would have been an interesting footballer to throw in there. But looking at the Munster quarterfinals, Clonmel Commercials versus Newcastle West, Castlehaven versus Cratloe. looking at Castlehaven, Cratloe, first of all, I mean, we were talking off air a little bit about the fact that the game's only going to have what things like I think it only holds 600 people, the pitch or something like that. Is it that it's going to be in or something of that nature?
That's what I'm reading. The seats there in Mullaghvallahan, I think is how you pronounce the name of the pitch in Castlehaven. The seats there, the number of people in seats is 670, and then there's people standing around the place. So I don't know how many are going to stand there, but beware for Cratloe fans. This pitch is basically in the middle of nowhere. It's in the middle, like you go towards Skibbereen, and then you pass a number of trees, and you get to the pitch. It's a great facility, Castlehaven's pitch, but it is in the middle of nowhere. It's a bit like if anybody has been to Owen Beg in Derry. It's very like that. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting game to see who comes out on top there. You have to fancy Castlehaven if it is on that pitch, but let's not forget the Irish weather. Like if the pitch is going to be waterlogged, the game could be moved up to the city. It could be even moved up to Páirc Uí Chaoimh, and that could suit Cratloe. So it's kind of a game where it depends what weather you're going to get. If you're going to get a calm day, I think Castlehaven are going to win it. But if you're going to get a rainy day, the pitch might be waterlogged. You might have to move it to best case scenario, Clonakilty. Worst case scenario, Páirc Uí Chaoimh. If you move it to Páirc Uí Chaoimh, I think Cratloe will definitely fancy their chances. But even if you move it to Clonakilty, I'd fancy Castlehaven. Look, Castlehaven should get over the line. They should. Simple as. They have the better players. They have the better coaches. They've been in a better championship this year. They should have been anyway. So I'd fancy Castlehaven to go on and win that game. And as for the other game, Clonmel and Newcastle West, going to be an exciting game. Really good game. Clonmel obviously have very good players. They have players that have a willingness to get over the line. Newcastle West, though, this is their third year on the road in the Munster Championship. So they'll definitely want to put their foot down on the Munster Championship this time round. Ian Corbett, I don't know, Keane Sheehan was back in the crowd, I think, for the Limerick final. Is he going to be back on the pitch next weekend? I'm not sure. If he is, that's going to be a huge boost to them. Obviously, the young players that they have are Neville, Ruan O'Connor, Sean Geraghty, if they are to come on the pitch, are very good. Owen Hurley's a good free taker in there as well. So Newcastle West definitely have the temperament to get over the line against Clonmel. I'd probably tip it to Clonmel, though. This is going to be the tightest game of the weekend, I think. It's going to be a nip and tuck game, but I think Clonmel should get over the line, considering the fact that they lost to Newcastle West in that very venue, Thurles, last year. So Clonmel would not want to repeat that feat from last year. So I definitely fancy Clonmel to get over the line eventually in this game, and Castlehaven to win the other game.
Yeah, I think so as well. Like, you'd probably imagine Castlehaven, Cratloe could be quite a low scoring game potentially as well, like with conditions and everything else. So it mightn't be the great spectacle to watch, but yeah, I'll go Castlehaven and Clonmel to come through it. But as we were saying earlier, maybe on last week's show, like Newcastle West did beat Clonmel the last time they played them, so you definitely wouldn't be surprised if they were to pull it off. But I do think Clonmel should have enough there, and obviously Newcastle West just won the county title at the weekend, and I've seen plenty of videos and images circulating, as you normally do when a team wins a county title. And I was seeing lads doing exams whilst out, out in the pub. But like, you love to see it, I suppose. Look, you gotta get it done. And I mean, can't say I haven't been there before, to be fair. Well, maybe not a Monday club now or anything of that nature, or winning county titles, but in terms of having exams and being in the pub, I mean, yeah, probably have been.
Desperate times comes from desperate measures, Aaron. But to be fair, I think the lecturers, the poor lads, I think Owen Hurley, the corner forward who takes all the frees for Newcastle West, actually put up that tweet, and I don't think the player doing it was actually happy that he put it up, but look, it is what it is. But but it is desperate. So you see some weird things on Monday clubs, don't you, Aaron? You really do. But to be honest, that was the weirdest thing I have ever seen. A player doing an exam during a Monday club. But look, they won the Limerick Championship. Do you have a Munster Championship next week? When else are you going to do the exam? Because you're going to do training sessions, Most of the times come for different measures. But in all seriousness, I hope the player does pass his exam and pass his college course. So all the best to that Newcastle West player, and you will get it done. Trust me.
Yeah, like my only thinking when I seen that was like, oh, like it's shared everywhere now. What if the lecturer sees it, or people within the college see it? Like that's the only issue really. But yeah, look, I'm sure it has been done before. To be fair, Denise says, what game do you think will be most entertaining coming up this weekend? Yeah, probably Tralee Cross McGlen. I think has the potential to be quite a entertaining game. Kilcue versus Scottstown could be a good game potentially as well. Looking at the hurling results, obviously there was only one hurling championship game at the weekend. Ballygunner 220, Sarsfields 9 points. So yeah, very very comprehensive result for Ballygunner, and yeah, I suppose a bit of a dark day for Cork, a bit of a dark day for Sarsfields. I know they only won the county championship a couple of weeks ago, and I know the story and everything with Teddy McCarthy and everything else. Like, they certainly done their club proud, obviously coming through Cork and everything else. And look, Ballygunner are a phenomenal team, but it's a huge, like, that's a big gap. And yeah, give us your take on this.
Where do we start, Aaron? Hold on to it. No, look, I will say this: fair play to Sars for winning the county title. They deserve to win it. They beat Middleton, they beat St. Finbarrs, they beat Emo Kelly, they beat the Brockies. Fair play to them for going on and winning the county. They deserved it. But I think this isn't Sarsfield's fault. I think it's the fault of the Cork County structures and the Cork hurling in general. I think it's well behind the Munster counties, and you've seen it over the weekend. Like, Sarsfields only scores 5 points from play in a game of hurling. Like, that's just not good enough. I know Ballygunner, fair play to them, and I think they're going to win the All-Ireland this year. Patrick Fitzgerald, Jesse Hutchinson, like, they're unbelievable hurlers. But some Cork fans need to face up to reality, and I've been going through stats now over the past last night and this morning, and some Cork fans are unhappy with these home truths, but I have to give them to them. Like, the last Cork club to win a game in the Munster Championship was 2016. Glen Rovers beating Patrickswell. The last Cork club to win a Munster Championship at club level, at senior level, was Newtown Chandrum in 2009. 14 years ago. That's desperate. That's really, really poor. The last Cork club to win an All-Ireland title at club level, 2004, again Newtown Chandrum. So to be fair to Newtown Chandrum, they're flying the flag for Cork. And fair play to Ben O'Connor and Jamie Collin and all them players that have donned the Newtown Chandrum jersey. Fair play to them. And Colin Afton as well. But it's just very, very bad for Cork hurling, isn't it? That you're just seeing these numbers, and they haven't won a senior All-Ireland since 2005. And they're not going to win a senior All-Ireland for another 5 years either, because with that Limerick team there. So, no, look, a lot of Cork people, and I was saying that after they lost to Limerick that they were unlucky to lose that game and stuff like that. But when you look at those stats, those are worrying. They really are worrying for the club championship. The club championship in Cork isn't intense enough. It isn't skillful enough. Even the scores, I'll go through top scores and stuff like that. The top scorer from playing the Cork championship this year was a player from Avondhu, a divisional side that didn't even get to the quarterfinals in Cork. Where are the club sides coming out of this? Where are the Sars players? Where are the Black Rock players? Glen Rovers, one of the strongest clubs in Cork, have gone down to the second tier of Cork hurling. Cartoon, another big club, have gone down to second tier. Clyne, another strong club. All the strong clubs are disintegrating bit by bit by bit. And it's worrying. It really is worrying. And it's worrying for Cork hurling in general. Like you look at the club championship compared to other countries, the intensity of the Waterford championship, the Tip championship, the Clare championship, Limerick, Cork championship is way off it. Way off it. I've watched the Cork championship for years now. It's not up to the standard at all, unfortunately. And you might say, like, a lot of Cork fans are saying, oh, Mass, they've got close to Limerick, and fair play to them for getting close to Limerick. They could even beat them next year. But my point is, Tipperary didn't lose to Limerick this year in the Munster Championship. And a lot of Tip fans are very, very negative about their team next year. So what does that say about Cork, who lost to Limerick? A Limerick team that was probably in second year or third year at the start of the Munster Championship, and they weren't playing to their full potential. I think this result probably epitomises there's things wrong with Cork hurling. There's stuff wrong with the club championship. It's not intense enough. not skillful enough. There's not enough players. I know there's minor champions, the under-20 champions. Fair play to the teams for doing fair play to the Cork under-20s for winning the All-Ireland this year against Offaly. But realistically, and Cork fans need to answer this, when is the next time they're going to win a senior title between club or intercounty? I think, and at best, 5 years' time. And it's worrying. It really is worrying for Cork hurling in general. And it was a dark day for the Cork Championship, not necessarily the Cork team, but the Cork Championship, because that is a fair battering. So they got, I know Ballygunner, outstanding team, but to score 5 points for play, 37% shot accuracy, 20% from play, 9 points in a hurling game. I mean, that was desperate stuff, to be honest, from a Cork club point of view, to be honest with Jaron. If that's the best the Cork hurling can produce, and Milton, let's not forget, got hammered by Kilmallock 2 years ago as well. It's worrying. Really is worrying for the Cork hurling championship. And when's the next time a Cork senior team is going to win the All-Ireland? I'm not sure, but it's not going to be anytime soon. I can tell you that for nothing.
Yeah, Sean, you were saying really interesting stats there on the Cork club scene, and yeah, like I was looking through some of the stats obviously you put up earlier on Instagram as well, like, and it is crazy to think, like, last time they won a Munster title 2009, last time they won an All-Ireland 2006, in terms of, you know, a club team obviously going all the way, and obviously at inter-county level as well, like Cork haven't won an All-Ireland since 2004, is it? And even the league championship as well. They haven't won a league in God knows how long as well. Like it's crazy to think how far Cork have fallen. Like when you think you do have, like, you have had underage recently, like in the last couple of years. So maybe that gap might be bridged. But yeah, like it definitely probably is a conversation for another day, because there'll be so much to discuss. But like, yeah, it is crazy to look at it and see like how off Cork seem to be in hurling at club level, county level. Like they seem to be miles off it, which is crazy, really, considering you do think they have a good bit of resources and a good bit to them. So it's a strange one.
It is, and when you look at how commercialised the club championship is down in Cork as well, a lot of games get shown on TG Car. And you've seen the end result now, didn't get battering off Ballygunner, and yeah, it was a dark day really for Cork hurling. I think even Sars have said they don't necessarily do well in Munster. I said this on a podcast previously. I didn't give them a hope against Ballygunner, to be honest with you, but I expected the game to be probably close at halftime, and then Ballygunner put away. But the fact it was one-way traffic throughout the game, it's worrying. It really is worrying, because you even look at them. Even your own county, Dublin have won a senior All-Irelands more recently than the Cork have. Coolan won 2 All-Irelands in a row in the club scene. You know, that's, if you were to say that as Cork fan, look, there's enough Cork people around social media bigging up Cork hurling and saying, I concentrate on football. I know, I will say this, I'd rather football to hurling. I just was born that way, but I want the best for Cork hurling. And the only way that you're going to get the best for Cork hurling is putting out these stats. Like, if you were to come down from space and to look at those stats and you're going to say, this is one of the best teams in the hurling All-Ireland, and the person from space, an alien or whatever, would say, really? Because those stats don't necessarily show that. So I think it's worrying. I think it really is. The Cork County Board have to do something about intensity, about talent in the Cork Championship, because definitely it flagged it now yesterday that the talent in the Cork Club Championship is just not there anymore. And it's sad to see, because Cork hurling, a brilliant county with the likes of Christy Green, Patrick Organ, I will say, is a decent player and up to that standard. The likes of Joe Dean, Sean O'Alpine, excellent players created over the years for Cork. But to go down to this, it's worrying. It really is worrying. And a lot of Cork fans and social media are not worrying enough about this, but I'd say start worrying.
There we go. Yeah, start worrying is the message right there. Looking at the 4 Leinster quarterfinals next weekend, Camross versus Naas. What do you think of Naas? Naas surely to come through there, maybe, or could Camross maybe cause it? It's kind of a difficult one, actually.
It is a difficult one because Camross, like, according to some Laois fans, they would have been historic in years gone by until the likes of Clop Balacola came into it. But to beat the likes of Clop Balacola to the Laois Championship was incredible for Camross, and that community, I know, personal reason, they've been through a bit of a tough year this year. One of their residents died tragically though this year, so to win a club championship for him in particular would be absolutely incredible. For Naas, Naas got to the semi-final last year and pushed Ballyhale all the way. Difficult one to call, really is. Camross are from a very good proud hurling county in Laois as well, and maybe that will tip them over to the edge, whereas Kildare aren't as proud as Laois are. It's a tight one, it really is. I'm going to back Camross. I'm going to go for the shock. I think Camross will have enough for Naas to win this game.
There we go. Yeah, no, I'd go for Naas. I think they should be too strong. I think, as you said, like, I remember that game, I think in Parnell Park, where they pushed Ballyhale quite. I think Ballyhale won the game comfortably in the end, but I remember in the first half, Naas came roaring out of the blocks. I think went 4 or 5 points up early on, and then Ballyhale just sort of took over the more the game went on. Naivana versus Kilcormac, Killoughey. I mean, it's a tricky one. I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't know very much about either of these two clubs. What I would say is Wexford teams don't tend to do too well in the Leinster Club Championship. Looking the last couple of years, could Naivana break the curve, do you think?
I don't think so in this game, because Cormac Killoughey, from what I'm hearing in the Offaly Championship, are coming in hot and heavy, and they have a starlet up front, Adam Sereni. This guy, watch him this weekend. Watch him fly. He's an excellent hurler, and I think he'll be the difference between the two sides. And another thing with the Wexford Hurling Championship, I said this previously as well, the gap between the Wexford final and the Leinster quarterfinal is ridiculous. Why are Wexford Hurling doing this? They're kind of denying Naivane an opportunity to go further in the Leinster Championship because they don't have enough games to prepare for this. And I think Cormac Killoughey, for that reason, and the reason because they have Adam Screeney in the team, I think it'll be enough to get them over the line.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think I'll echo your thoughts there. Raharney versus Nafina. I mean, Nafina on paper should win comfortably, having done what they done in Dublin, and obviously having beaten Ballybowden as comfortably as they did. Sometimes you do see this with big clubs who can break a duck, who can get over the line. They can go into the Leinster Club Championship maybe sort of, I wouldn't say eyes off the ball, but obviously the focus could shift away with the fact that they've now come through Dublin. But you would surely think they have enough. Like, they're probably favourites for Leinster now as well, as we've said before. One of up there with O'Loughlin Gales anyway, between them two, surely.
Probably, yeah. I'm not saying Nafina should get over the line in this one, especially I'm not sure the story with Donald Burke, but if he's back for games in this Leinster
I don't think so. I haven't heard but I don't think so anyway. I haven't heard he is back, so yeah.
Yeah, but even without him, they should win this game. Really, like the two Currys there, Liam Rush, brilliant team, and to win the Dublin Championship over Kilmacud Crokes was brilliant in its own right. Kilmacud pushing Ballyhale all the way last year, so you definitely have to fancy Nafina for this game. Raharney, unfortunately, they won the Westmeath Championship again, fair and square, but Nafina should have way too much for them.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think I will go for Nafina to come through that comfortably enough. And last but not least, Mount Leinster Rangers versus O'Loughlin Gales. Could there be a shock here?
Maybe. And the reason because of that is because O'Loughlin Gales are new enough to this sort of territory, and Mount Leinster Rangers have done this before. They've shocked teams before. They went to an All-Ireland final. They have the history. So you never know. You never know with these games. I'd have to back O'Loughlin Gales because of the form that's coming into this game after beating Ballyhale Shamrocks. A brilliant win over them. But it could go the other way as well. Maybe they've been celebrating too much in the Monday Club, and Mount Leinster Rangers nip in. But yeah, for now, I'd probably have to say O'Loughlin Gales. But I would be shocked if Mount Leinster Rangers get over the line this one. Yeah,
I'm going to go for Mount Leinster Rangers. I'm going to go for a bit of a crazy one right there to wrap things up. But yeah, cheers very much for anyone who tuned in. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure to check out Matthew's podcast, obviously, as well, and his Instagram channel and all his social media and everything else. And yeah, hit the like button, subscribe, absolutely everything. And yeah, Matthew, cheers for coming on.
Thanks very much, Aaron.